We got a big weekend coming up with UFC 300 right around the corner. We have matchups set to make history in the octagon. This is one you do not want to miss. I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, and we're going to bring you closer to the action. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings app right now. Sign up using my code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bets for DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including total rounds and method of victory. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, you can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win bigger prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers sign up using the promo code SONNEN. Bet just $5 and you will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, guys, let's talk some Jon Jones. Look, you can completely agree on the facts with somebody. And that generally never happens, right? You know that old expression, there's three sides to every story, my side, their side, and then the truth. And as you go through life, there's a lot of accuracy to that statement, isn't there? Very hard to get two people to agree that are having a dispute. This is one of those situations where everybody can agree on the facts, but then it comes down to interpretation. It's one of those things. We are not in the same world that I grew up in. The world that I grew up in, our gold standard was reality. Our gold standard to determine what happened was reality. We're now in a world where the gold standard is emotion. It is no longer, what did that person do? It is now, how did it make you feel? And it's important that you get caught up to speed on this, right? There's no statement or even a judgment by me. I'm telling you an accuracy. And it's a very big deal. Let's say you're in Jon Jones' spot and Jon's going, hey, wait a minute, I didn't do anything. I'm in my house. You came to my house. Whether he was angry or he was attempting to be funny, there was nobody ever in danger. But it can come down to how did it make you feel? And I got to get that out of the way, because if you had somebody that felt scared, I don't want to come and give them a hard time. I really don't. If that's genuine, if they truly felt a certain way and they felt that something needed to be reported, I don't want to give them a hard time. But I do want to set that aside and come out and be a little bit clearer here. This is not right. This is not right to come down on Jon Jones for. This has been bound to happen, and this has got to be used as a learning experience. I mean, we had Tim Kennedy draw a .45 fully loaded semi-automatic because he had people coming to his property. Oh, by the way, Tim Kennedy, prior to pulling the semi-automatic on the USADA team that had showed up there very early, which means in the dark, right? That's the relevance to early. Relevance to early is that a fighter's too lazy to get up out of bed. It's dark. Somebody's on your property. Jon Jones's case, you got dogs that are barking. It's one of these situations where it's going to alert him and it's going to rattle him. And when I tell you this is going to be a learning experience, like this for sure was on its way to happening. And there hasn't been a lot of concern or guide put in this direction, but to make believe that Tim Kennedy was wrong, he wasn't. The FBI had just contacted Tim Kennedy, who had doubly and triply secured his home to the tune of $150,000, not that the government paid for, that Tim Kennedy personally had to pay for, because he had very realistic threats from ISIS. This is not an exaggeration by me. So now you're in a situation with Jon Jones, and I don't know what Jon's past is, but he does very sincerely have some alerts. He does. I mean, there is a reason that he has weapons. There is a reason that he has trained dogs. There is a weapon that he has security cameras. There is something from Jon's past where people coming to his house particularly when it's dark, alerts him. I mean, not for nothing. It's his house. Now, I get this is an USADA, and you might hear me say USADA a couple times. I just mean the around the clock, the pool that we're now in, the 24/7 around the clock drug testing that the UFC athletes are subject to. So if you hear me use the wrong vernacular, they have the right to be there. I'm not giving a message that, hey, come there, you better be ready. Tim Kennedy, you point a 45 Magnum at you. I'm not doing that at all, but I am suggesting for you that maybe there is another way. I mean, to give a guy a 10-minute heads up, just for example, to send a phone call and or a text message, just for example, I don't think any of us believe a guy could clean his system or find a way to cheat just in that surprise factor, right? And maybe this isn't it. I haven't had a ton of time to think about it. I'm just sharing with you that this has got to be a learning experience because this has been coming down the pike. So now you've got Jon Jones. He finds himself in a situation where he's got strangers in his house. He's been drinking a little bit. It's dark. He's in his house, though. I'm not putting this on them, but you got to take it off of Jon. It cannot be. He's in his house. He has to comply. He's got to let them in. He can't let them leave his sight. That means anything he does. If he was to do something very private, if he was to go to the bathroom, if he was to take a shower, these things have all happened and these things all will happen right in front of them and they're strangers. You're now derobed. I mean, I'm just sharing with you, like, Jon has a responsibility and it's a very big responsibility, but he did his responsibility. It would be nice if people were polite. It would be nice if people got along. Say, from a personal standpoint, I had one of these drug tests. Oh my goodness, I couldn't wait until he was gone. And I had another guy I looked forward to seeing him. That's just the truth. But they had brought two. And they brought a man and they brought a woman. Now, again, when you talk about the world is moving and it's changing quickly, when I had to do this under USADA, I was in the back of the MGM Grand and we had no privacy and we went into a janitor's closet. There was the yellow and the mops and the things like this and the piles of bleach. I just don't know how sanitary that is. I don't know this person. They have no ID. They tell me who they are and I accept it. I'm now presenting my manhood to them. I mean, I've got to tell you that, right? And now they're taking needles and they're pointing them into my veins and they're pulling out blood. And turned out the guy was exactly who he said he was. And but to share with you that if they would have brought a woman, I wouldn't have done it. I would not have done it. There's not going to be a scenario where I'm trying to explain that to my wife. And so now you find Jon in a situation where he's at his house. He has to do this. He has to give blood. He has to give urine. And he's got one male and one female. And then we're supposed to act as though Jon isn't going to be irritated or bothered. And Jon doesn't get to be scared, right? He's champion of the world. Jon's the GOAT for the light heavyweights. He's on his way to GOAT for heavyweight. Some people think he's just the overall GOAT. So he doesn't get to be scared, does he? Nope, he doesn't get to be those things. He doesn't get to be a normal human being. He doesn't get to be a guy that's alerted. He doesn't get to be a guy that's annoyed. He doesn't get to be any of those things. Come on, he's all of those things. He's all of those things. And he was doing and behaving in that way in his house. There was required learning in West Glen. And I think that the schools are still the same. I could make one phone call because my sister's the head of school board. But I will tell you, when I graduated in 1995, To Kill a Mockingbird. Do you guys remember this? And 3 other books. It's the only one I can remember. I remember the story. I even remember the characters. I even remember when they were made into movies. Even if I couldn't produce the name for you in this video, but one of the books had to do with a guy, and the guy had gotten angry, and he told somebody else, and he did it in front of people, and he said, "I'm going to kill you." And later, the person that was told they were going to be killed got killed. So they arrest the guy. The guy said, my God, I didn't kill him. I was never even going to kill him. That was just an expression. It was just an expression. And if there's anybody that knows about expression, it's our industry, right? How many times have you heard somebody say, I'm going to kick your ass? Probably more times than not in a fist fight. Probably more times than not, both guys, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick his ass. Hey, go kick his ass. Fans, coaches, your own parents, hey, kick his ass. Have you ever seen somebody take their foot and kick the other guy in his ass? No, I'm being serious right now. Have you ever seen that? It's an expression. It is an expression. Rich Franklin, who might be the nicest guy that's ever gotten in the octagon, truly might be, oh, and by the way, might be the most handsome, oh, and by the way, might be the most ethical, oh, and by the way, might be the smartest. Now, he's not. I'm all of those things. But Rich might be, right? He's right up there. He said that. His wife had jumped in the octagon, which was like, it embarrassed him. He was happy to see her. It's his wife. And he goes, oh, I'm going to kill you. But it reminds me of that book that I had to read in 1995. So the character in that book, in case you guys want to know how that story is, he was completely innocent, but he had said it, and the jury's in there deliberating, and they're arguing. They're saying, but he said, I'm going to kill you. Those words matter, and now this person is dead. He must have done it. The jury starts arguing. And the jury argues to the point that one of the people on the jury that wanted to convict the guy stands up and goes, I'm going to kill you. And the other people argue and pull back, and they said, are you really going to kill me? And the guy realized it was an expression. I mean, I'm telling you this, and if I'm getting too intellectual on it, I mean, this is a very big thing. Nobody was in danger. And if somebody felt a certain way, which is today's standard, how did it make you feel? Versus Jon attempting to be funny, attempting to entertain. He's got X amount of people, time he's got to spend with two complete strangers that have alerted his security alarm. They got his dogs barking. They got him in the dark of night. I mean, not for nothing, guys. Come on. You're taking a pound of flesh. Jon has copped to the whole thing. He's even got video surveillance of his saying goodbye to these greeters. There was a handshake involved. There was a hug involved. I mean, I'm telling you now, nobody was in danger. When you read that headline instantly leads you to believe that there was a threat or somebody was in trouble, or even that Jon didn't want to do the test. If you opened the link, if you read the article, none of those things are true. It is wildly misleading. But it is a great opportunity. And the opportunity should have been used when Tim Kennedy drew down on two people. That is when USADA and these drug testers should step aside from, well, you signed off and you're in a pool. Yeah, I signed off for a lot of things. I'm in a lot of pools. You show up to my house in the dark, unannounced, when my dogs are going off. Yeah. I might do something like Tim, and I might say something like Jon. Either way, I didn't refuse your test. I did not put my hands on you. I gave you the samples. Come on. That's where it ends. Jon Jones is clean here.